Good evening, good evening, good evening. Come into the J Spot. We're G Spot every Thursday from 6 to 7, giving you real relationship talk, relationship drama with the best night of your life. Your host, Jay and Simply E, hold on, get ready to enter the J Spot on IntellectualRadio.com.
Into the booty.
Good evening, and welcome to the best night of your life. Woo!
You love it.
You have entered the J Spot, where we are strengthening relationships and families, one conversation at a time. IntellectualRadio.com. We are an iHeart station. I'm your host, Jay, and sitting next to me, we have my co-host, my partner in crime, sizzling, sexy, Simply E. Hey, E.
Hey, Jay.
How you doing?
Wonderful.
You fine, sexy thing. You.
I'm just a reflection of you.
And sitting next to sizzling Simply E, we have none other than, I wish I could give you a drum roll. Handsome, smelling good.
Yes.
Alvin Lay. How you doing, Alvin?
Hey, Big Daddy.
Come on and go with me. Come on over to my place.
What's the address?
What we doing when we get there?
What we doing
when we get there? I don't want to go. If I can't snoop to your stuff, I don't want to go. You all, thank you so much for tuning in. Please go to our page and like our page at the J Spot. Also follow us on Twitter at J Spot. Also follow us on Instagram at J Spot Radio. And Jay is spelled Jaye for all three. Want to thank you so much, Grown and Sexy Conversations with Jay. Thank you, 180 Real Talk Chicago. Thank you, 30 and Up Doing Us, Tyson Smith. Thank you so much, Tyson, for the shout out and for all the love that you give J Spot. Yeah. We really appreciate it. Hey, Renita, thank you so much. Hey, thank you so much, Pit Life and Pit Life Queens, Prayers, Washington. Thank you all so much for everything that you do. Thank you for liking our page. Thank you, the J Spot. Thank you, Grown and Sexy Conversations, for chipping in, chiming in on the conversation, keeping everything grown and sexy. Y'all be keeping it hot. This week, it was no exception. You know, the trickery is real. But before we get into the trickery, I just want to say congratulations to all the class of 2018. You rock. Kindergarten, pre-K. Wait, they don't graduate from kindergarten, do they?
Yes, they do.
To first grade? Okay.
Yeah.
Pre-K, kindergarten, 8th graders, high schoolers. Congratulations, class of 2018. Want to send a special shout out to a special graduate for 2018 that's near and dear to my heart, my nephew, Jermail. Congratulations, Jermail. You know, let me tell you, this young man, he graduated from high school. And, you know, he's been through a lot. He's had some rough transitions, but to just see him push his way through, to just see him just muscle it through, despite, let me tell you, when I say the odds were stacked against him, they had already counted him out, but my boy did it. And I'm so proud of you. And I can't wait for him to share his story. He's going to be writing a book. He's 19 years old and he's going to be writing a book. And we putting him on blast. You all, the blast is coming from the young folks. And believe me, I'm going to be sitting there with the match, waiting for them, encouraging them. But congratulations, Jamel. Congratulations to, like I said, the whole class of 2018. Thank you all so much. Now, with that being said, with the young people, now, y'all know my favorite beverage. I love me some coffee. And man, you know, I was observing some things that really got me, you know, the rest of my underwear in a tizzy.
Depending on the bunch.
Oh, yeah. And it's too hot to have them in a bunch. But what I wanted to say was, we have to do better with these young people. We got to do better with our kids. I was sitting and I was having coffee, and I've observed this quite a few times. So I saw the young people coming in for interviews for their jobs. in the way that they were dressed, I didn't even know that they were there for an interview. Like the one girl, the last girl which just pushed me over the edge, she had on a very tight sundress. The sandals, the strappy sandals that come all the way up your leg, and then you was able to, the whole was out and you were able to see her bra, and the skirt was so tight you were able to see her panties. And she was probably about 17 and she was there for an interview. And when I tell you my mouth flew, I said, wait a minute. Wait. And this was not the first time that I saw that. There was a young guy that was there. He had on some type of athletic jacket. He had on the jeans and the gym shoes, and the jeans was set. And I'm just like, are you serious? Are they really here for an interview?
Well, nobody taught them.
And that's what concerned me. And that's why I had to bring it up. We cannot expect these young people to do better, and we're not training them and we're not teaching them. That just let me know that nobody was talking to them.
Yeah.
That they had no one to look up to, nobody to tell them how to prepare for an interview, how to dress, how to talk, how to everything, your hair, everything. I thought that they were going to the club.
No, they just didn't know. No one taught them, they knew that they needed to get a job. They knew they got an interview, but no one taught them, you know what, you need to wear this, you need to do that. Because not everybody goes on, YouTube or Google or whatever to Google everything, What's the saying? Common sense is not common. So they don't know that. So you have to be taught exactly what to wear during an interview, how to act, how to conduct the interview, and how to deal with the questions that are going to be asked to you during the interview process.
And that's why we're going to have that information posted up. We're going to have some tips. And I think I want to do some things like that every week, just some helpful tips, because let's be real, some of the parents may not know, because let me just tell you, about the way that some of these grown folks is dressing in the workplace, got the shoulders out. Hey, wait a minute. How you going to teach your daughter when you coming up in here 50 years old and you done been in the work field long enough to know that, listen, them stiletto heels are not work appropriate. Not this type of work. Now, the after hours, that 7, that 12, that post, that's where you do that at. But not up in where you serving people and you taking care of patients and things like that. You out of order. And then it shouldn't be in the church either.
Well, the pastor don't have a problem with that, so.
Well, I do, because when you are getting jovial and full of the spirit and whatever else is going on, I have a problem with all of this just popping up. I'm like, okay, where's the mother? Is somebody gonna help her? Alvin, it feels in my spirit like you're gonna say something.
He happy to see you jump up and down. Do it again.
But I'm saying, like, for real, that is just out of order. And ain't nobody saying, listen, here's the thing. It's not judging. It's just helping you to do better. We have to be helpers one to another. So if you don't have it together, let me help you get it together. Let's just help each other get it together. We want these kids to get jobs and get off the street and that. We have to teach them. So if they don't know, that's what we're here to do. We're here to help each other. So no bash, no judge. Dress attire for interview is a blouse for the young ladies. And here's the thing, it's not about being fancy and all this and that. It's about being neat. White shirt, black slacks, blue slacks, gray, you good to go. Slacks are not the stretchy things from the stores, the tight thing. This what I got on right here. This ain't no slack. This not.
You sure?
No, this ain't no slack.
Oh, I thought.
I mean, it ain't tight, but it's not no slack. So it's not what I have on. If you have this on for a job interview, you done missed it.
It was incorrect.
You incorrect. If you got on what Alvin got on, you incorrect. If you got on what he got on, all these these delicious shoulders, we out of order for the traditional workplace, right? I mean, even if it is a restaurant, I think that people are they have a misconception. Oh, well, just because I'm going to McDonald's,
you still need to.
It's still a protocol.
Yeah.
And people are forgetting protocol. Protocol is not judging. It's protocol. They got it set there for a reason. So you may not like it.
Nobody's teaching these kids.
And see, I think they too are expecting, back in the day when you had a job interview come in or whatever, usually the manager or whoever called you would tell you, please dress professionally. Well, now I guess they're not telling you anything. They just accepting for you to come on in there because they know you're going to dress messed up. So that way, that's the reason for them not even accept you when it comes to the interview process. Because even if you did a really good interview, if you dress like you just like, excuse my language, the bum off the streets, who wants to give you a job? That's just not real. So you have to dress appropriately and accordingly.
And it's just like, and I thought about it. I said, okay, so if they're not even dressing correctly, then 9 times out of 10, they probably don't have a resume and just all kinds of things that you need to get a good job, or at least to get your foot in the door to gain some type of experience. Because here's the thing, even if it is McDonald's, it's a start. So many skills that you don't look at the position, look at the skills and the things that you're going to gain from that position and take it and move on. I think a lot of people get stuck in that box like, I had another something. I'm not going to put him out there, but I was talking to a young fella. He don't have a job. So I said, go to McDonald's and apply. I don't want to work at McDonald's. I said, whoa. How much money do you have coming in right now? Nothing, but so you don't want to go work at McDonald's, but you don't got nothing coming in. I say, I don't even understand it. I say, your whole mentality, your whole way of thinking is jacked up. And if you keep thinking like that, you're not going to get far. I say, you got kids. That's what you have to focus on. You have to focus on your responsibility. The moment of you choosing what you want to do and what you don't want to do, that left out the door. The minute you skeeted and you released yourself and that time to a kid, you see what I'm saying? I'm just, listen, the moment that became a child, what you want to do no longer matters because you have responsibility. So I know he was like, you know what? I can't even believe that she said this. Let me just hurry up and get out her car.
Look at Willis' face.
I don't want to talk to her. But it's real. We have to have these conversations, and it's being had in love. So as I said, we will have some tips posted on the J Spot page on how to dress properly for an interview and how to get your resumes, and maybe see if we can find some resume services. You all, if you have some clothes or something that you would want to donate to a kid, or you want to take a kid up under your wing, listen, you look right there in your family. I'm sure you can find some young people that need some assistance. You don't even have to go to an organization. We all have a few that need to just come on, walk into the light. We all have a few that we need to help. So let's start by doing that. We're going to take a short musical break, you all. And when we return, we're getting into some hot topics. Now, let me tell you, we're talking about dressing. Now, if I'm married, should I have all, my profile picture, have all of this out?
Well, your husband
and it'd be okay.
I guess
we're going to talk about that. You're listening to the J Spot, where we are strengthening relationships and families. One conversation.
Can't let no anybody love me. You are the one that lives in me, my dear. I should never feel lonely. You don't ever wanna spend some time. I want your love in every drop of a dime. You see me calling, you should come running. Quit all that stalling, my body is calling. I got no time. What about our time? It could be so perfect, one hell of a night. Think he got a secret ease, he ain't calling my club. I just wanna slow this on you, baby, we can turn it up. You had your chance, no second chances. This love I have is not for play. Under no circumstances, I'm in need of romancing. Pick up the phone, cause I get so lonely. Can't let no anybody love me. You are the one that lives in me, my dear. I should never feel lonely. Lately your love has been on my mind. Obviously busy, I wanna unwind. Fantasizing, thinking about you. Imagine all I feel. Anticipating is about to go down. I get so lonely. Don't leave me waiting up for you. I get so lonely. You had your chance, no second chances. This love I have is not for play. Under no circumstances, I'm in need of romancing. pick up the phone, 'cause I get so.
Welcome back to the J Spot, where we are strengthening relationships and families one conversation at a time on IntellectualRadio.com. We are an iHeart station. I'm your host, Jay, and sitting next to me, we have my co-host, my partner in crime, sizzling, sexy, Simply E. Hey, E.
Hey, boo thing.
How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
Good. You know, I meant to ask you, tell people how they can get in contact with you on what you got going on, because you had something to share last week and you walked out of here. I'm like, she ain't about brought like nothing.
Okay, right now, the best way to get in contact with me is you can go to my Facebook page, Edra Muhammad, and inbox me. If you send me a friend request, you waste your time. So inbox me, EDDRA Muhammad, MUHAMMAD, or check me out on the J Spot page or Simply E's Corner on Facebook. Check me out on Simply E's Corner or Simply E at Instagram, or check me out on Simply E at Twitter. Also, Simply E's Corner at Tumblr. And right now, what I have going on is I have a book coming out in August. We have a book tour starting in August. Also, it's going to hit up 10 states, 10 cities. We're writing a book. It's 10 women. We're co-authoring a book called It's from a Successful Daughter. Daddyless daughter, I'm sorry. The book, the premise of the book is that each one of us, we did not have our father growing up in the household with us. So some of us had bad relationships with our father. I had a really great relationship with my father, though my father was not there physically. We had a 20-something year phone relationship. So the way, when I talked to my dad, I talked to him all the time, but you would under the assumption that he was right there. But my father lived in New Jersey and I stayed in Mississippi or Georgia or then Chicago. So I didn't see my father until I missed his funeral too, due to someone else, but I missed his funeral. So all that is in the book. And I have also a speaking engagement that I do once a month with a group called Sacrifice for Success. We speak out in Lansing at the Lansing Public Library once a month. So that information will be on the page. And I'm in the process of writing a play. So I'm kind of busy.
Cool.
Really busy.
Now the book is pre-orders.
Pre-orders, yeah.
Tell them how they can get that.
Pre-orders where the information is on the J Spot page. The information is also on my page, and it's also on the Simply E's Corners page. It's in various groups, so I'm in 20 million in one group. So I've been sharing it all over. So check out Edra Muhammad's page to click on the link and pre-order you a copy. The pre-order is $10. The book is $10. So pre-order you a copy of the book, so that way we can get everything lined up for our book tour. We will be hitting up Indiana, Illinois, I know Mississippi as well, and Florida for right now. So make sure that if you are in or if you reside in those states, come down to the book tour. It's going to be really awesome and great, and check us out.
All right. Well, sizzling Simply E. See, that's why she's sizzling, because she hot and she got it going on. So, man, big ups to you. Congratulations.
You.
Much success to you. Now, next to sizzling Simply E, we have Pretty Precious Bonner. Hey, Precious.
Hey,
Precious
Jay.
with the long
hey,
hair.
everybody. I know it'll be short
Precious with
tomorrow.
the long hair.
I'm nervous.
How you doing today, Precious?
I'm fantastic, actually.
Good. Now tell everybody how they can get in contact with you and what you got going on.
Nothing and don't. Appreciate it.
Got
Thank
to
you.
be more careful.
Pettiness has started.
It's that long cat.
That's what it is. It's the attitude. No,
Gots to be more- it's too hot for that.
it is. I've been cranky. Like, I'm sweaty. I feel hot.
Like, I'm gonna need you to get that together.
I know it's gotta go. Precious Bonner on Facebook, Precious Bonner on Instagram, all that good stuff. Chicago 180 Real Talk. Check JP out, check me out, check Terrence, anybody, any of the admins, of course, feel free. Anybody in Chicago is welcome. If you're not in Chicago, love, peace, and hair grease to you. But that's pretty much it right now. Just chilling, man. I'm trying to relax and enjoy June.
Now, next to Pretty Precious Bonner, we have the man himself. Huggable, handsome, smelling good.
what they say.
Alvin Lay.
Shut
You
your
know,
mouth.
Alvin, how you doing? First of all, before I start spreading rumors about you, how you doing and how can people get in contact with you?
I'm doing wonderful. Most people hit me up on Facebook at Alvin Lay. Lay Alvin.
Lay
IG.
down.
Wait a minute.
For relationship questions, hit me up on Twitter. Ask Alvin 1, number 1.
You get naked.
For massage services, everybody know how to find me. I'm easy to find.
Mm.
I'm
Lay
I'm
Alvin.
still out here rubbing on booties.
Lay it down. Lay it down.
I was gonna ask you. That was the room I was gonna start, but you cleared it up, so I won't be messy. I'll just.
They
go
won't
ahead.
let me leave.
They won't.
Nah, they won't let me
Because
leave.
I heard that you have healing hands.
That's
Mm.
what they say.
Mm.
You know, I think well,
Mm.
I can't say I affect change in life. I can't do that.
Mm.
is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's why everybody. Let me ask you this. So do you give massages to the people that you're in relationships with? Like when you're in a relationship, do you give massages,
I haven't.
or have you done that in the past?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that would explain why you never had like anything bust or broke or anything, after you,
Bust.
That what they
car
say?
windows
Oh,
and things like that. Because, Alvin is, you all, let me tell you, Alvin is real messy. I'm going to tell you, he that low key, he that play with the mind mess type that had you. Yes, you do.
No.
Yes, you do. Yes, you
No.
do. That's why I had to.
cross my heart.
I had to figure out
No.
what was keeping your property and everything intact. It has to be something, because
It
the
is real
mind
simple.
games that you play, I'm like,
No.
I love you, Al.
No.
no.
I don't play
Please.
mind games.
No.
No.
Please, I love you.
Okay.
I love your
But it's
lifetime.
simple. Easiest thing. Anyone who knows me understand.
Mm.
I love from the door. I give love, I receive love, and I let people be.
Now, you know what? You had me the first 2 or 3 times that you said that, but now
It's the same thing.
it has no effect on me whatsoever, because I'm just like, I've heard your explanation for things, and I'm just like,
and it
man,
doesn't change.
if I could get in contact with a couple of these females, I want to question them and say, why you didn't? So you mean to tell me you didn't destroy none of his property? You just left
love him.
without a fight.
I
Like
love
one of
him.
the questions that we had, you all, what was the craziest thing that you've ever done? How someone cheated on you? What was the craziest thing that you've ever done?
Craziest.
The craziest that you can remember that you can tell.
The craziest. Oh,
Don't give
because
specifics.
there's so many. I'm like, I've been cheated on
never
a few
been caught
times.
cheating.
Oh, well, you're a good one. I haven't been caught either, but I've done it, and I think the craziest.
No, you had. Well, I take
I've not
that
been
back.
caught. But you know what? When he took me off, like I went into his car because he had his phone. This my ex's car is like immaculately clean. So he changed his routine. He came upstairs and he didn't have his phone with him. And then he was drunk, which he rarely drinks. Bless you. That's $10 off of our rent. So he, I say interview. We're gonna get back to the story in a little bit.
How you could just affect the man's natural bodily habits? But you all, we're gonna take this phone interview and we're gonna get back to the craziest things that you've done once you found out someone cheated on you. Let us know in the Facebook feed, what was the craziest thing that you've ever done when you found out a sucker cheated on you? Sucker's Creed. That's not how Sucker's Creed works? Okay, you have to give me a tutorial on that. Well, thank you so much for holding. This is Jay. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good, and you? What's your name, and let us know what you got going on.
This is Octavia Page, and I'm calling in reference to the Fashion No Boundaries fashion show, June 16th.
Okay. Now, where is it going to be located?
It's going to be at the Hilton Chicago in Oakline on 93rd and Cicero.
Now, how can people get tickets for that?
Tickets can be got either on the website at www.fashionnoboundaries.info or on Eventbrite.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about the fashion show? What do you mean when you say Fashion No Boundaries? Tell us a little bit about it.
Fashion No Boundaries is about people with disabilities coming together on one runway with everybody. We are not excluding anybody, so it doesn't matter who you is, what your disability is, or if you didn't have a disability, you're still, it's all a inclusive fashion show.
Now, is this the first time that you put on this type of fashion show?
Yes, it is. It's the first annual fashion show. We're expecting to do this every year.
So what inspired you to do a fashion show of this nature?
I have a son, a 12-year-old son with cerebral palsy and epilepsy, and I'm just so tired of him being excluded from so much stuff. You know, it's bad enough that kids with disabilities have to take a separate bus. They got a separate school. So why come my fashion can't be the same? Why come they can't be trendy?
Okay. Now, is this for boys and girls?
Yes, it is. It's for both.
Okay. Is there an age limit?
You know what? There was an age limit at first, but we listed the age limit because we ended up having older people wanting to walk the runway, and me being who I am, I couldn't turn anybody away.
So now how can people get in contact with you?
They can get in contact with me by calling 708-973-2919 or leaving a message on the website.
Now, do you have any other upcoming events besides the fashion show that you want to mention?
No, not right now. That's all we have going on right now.
Okay, again, tell us, how can we get tickets?
We can get tickets on Eventbrite or at the website at www.fashionnoboundaries.info.
Okay, and we'll definitely have that information posted on our page on the J Spot, also on Twitter at J Spot, and also on Instagram at the J Spot Radio. And Jay is spelled Jaye for all three. Do you want to give your social media info?
Yes, my social media info is Twitter is Fashion No Bound 1 and Instagram is Fashion No Bound.
Okay, well, I want to thank you so much for calling in. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for all that you do for the community, because, again, that is definitely an area that is a lot of times forgotten and passed over. So thank you so much for your compassion. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And we definitely look forward to more things from you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good evening, okay?
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You all, please make sure you check our page and pick up tickets for this awesome event. We'll definitely have that information posted on our page at the J Spot, also on Twitter at J Spot, and also on Instagram at the J Spot Radio. And Jay is spelled Jaye for all three. We're going to take a short musical break, you all. And when we return, we're going to talk about PDA, public displays of affection. Have you ever just had someone just grab a handful while you were in public? How did you feel? We're talking about that when we come back. You're listening to the J Spot on IntellectualRadio.com.
I know it's gonna be good, girl. I can feel your water streaming down all around. Here's my love, and I qualify in your eyes. I can feel myself deeper, deeper inside. Your body, oh, be by my side. Oh, let me see the light of my fire. I can see it in your eyes. Sure feels good to me when I'm pushing inside of you. Pushing inside of you. Can't explain the way it feels. All I wanna do is be with you. All I wanna do is be with you. Good to me when I'm pushing inside of you. Pushing inside of you. Can't explain the way it feels. All I wanna do is be with you. Okay. Enough of that foreplay. Something's telling me that your body's soaking. So here's my love. Am I qualified in your eyes? I can feel myself deeper, deeper inside. You ought to come here by my side. See the light of fire. I can see it in your eyes. Good to me, and I'm pushing inside of you. Pushing inside. Can't explain the way you feel. All I wanna do is be with good to me when I'm pushing inside of you. I'm pushing inside of you. Yeah. All I wanna do is be with you. Good to me when I'm pushing inside of you. All I need can't explain the way you feel. All I wanna do is be with you.
We're not doing that inside. Welcome back to the J Spot, where we are strengthening relationships and families, one conversation at a time, on IntellectualRadio.com. We are an iHeart station. I'm your host, Jaye, and sitting next to me, we have my co-host, my partner in crime, Sizzling Simply E. Hey, E.
Hey, boo thing.
How you doing?
I'm good. You know, I had wanted to make a, I know we're introducing everybody, but it's just really blown me. And a lot of things have not been getting the media that it should be about those girls that are coming up missing in Chicago, that their organs are being removed and stuff. These young teenagers, young teenagers, young boys, you know, even when they came to the first story that we first heard a few years ago about the basketball kid
that was wrapped up in the mat
and stuff. And it's so hush hush. You know, we really need to pay attention to our teenagers out here, our young people, period. People are stealing our organs, period, and they are utilizing us. You know, when the movie Get Out came out, everybody kind of thought, you know, it's a really good movie, but they didn't think deeper into it. They were stealing people's organs in that movie and stuff and utilizing, and that stuff is just not for entertainment purposes. That stuff is real. People are killing our children and taking our body parts. So I just wanted to, you know, put light up on that because it's just really irking the hell out of me to see all this madness going on and no one cares, and other media outlets don't care.
Well, we care, and a big rule of thumb, and it's something that I definitely am making sure I have to be more mindful in doing. These phones, we're so busy. We're always on our phones outside. We're not paying attention to our surroundings. We definitely have to do better with that because we're making ourselves vulnerable to things like this. When you're walking down the street, I can't tell you how many times I see people walking in the street,
and they're not paying attention.
texting, they're not paying attention. I'm like, wait a minute, you don't even see this 18-wheeler coming at you because you're trying to tag somebody. It can wait. It can totally wait. So I'm like, you know, especially in lieu of all this stuff that's going on, please, please, please pay attention to your surroundings. Young folks, old folks. I don't know if they want the old folks.
They take them all. You know, they may not want the old people for whatever reasons, but you still have these sick people out here that kidnap people just to sodomize them and everything else. So just pay attention to your surroundings. Yes, I've heard stories. I've heard the nursing home stories. I've heard it all. So just pay attention to your surroundings. You know, like Jay said, when we walking across the street, we have our cell phone glued to our head. My ex-husband was the main one. When I would go out jogging or whatever, he would tell me, no, take your hoodie off of your head because you don't know who is behind you that may clock you upside your head and kidnap you. So take your hood off of your head. Pay attention. When I go jogging, I'll take one earpiece out my ear so I'm hearing what is going on around me, and I'm always being aware of my surroundings. I'm paying attention to the reflections in whatever, you know, place that I walk past. I always look in the reflections of mirrors or the windows, or if it's on the car, I'm looking at the reflection because I don't trust anybody around me, period. If I didn't birth you, I don't trust you. So you need to be conscious of your surroundings and young people. If your children are not on the feed, then you need to take a moment right now or after the show and go talk to your children about their surroundings because people's children are coming up missing, and this is really tragic.
Absolutely. And we have to, you know, get to ask your kids questions, ask their whereabouts. I mean, because I think that some parents feel like it's an invasion of privacy or it's a crime to ask your child, the one that you got the stretch marks because the one that you had the bad labor pains for, it's against the law for you to ask them, where are you? Hello, where are you?
Exactly.
I've never understood that. How is it as a parent you can invade your child's privacy that you pay for?
They feel like that. I'm driving home ungodly hours. Wait, first of all, I'm not even supposed to be out this late. What you doing out this late?
My child, I have an 18-year-old. He still asks me, can he go over his friend's house? He still asks me. They had a fight last night and he was so upset. But he called his dad and was like, you know, can you come get me? And then he was like, Mom, I'm going over my dad's house. And I had to respect it. But at least he didn't just walk out that door and just leave. He let me know what was going on or whatever. And like I say, even when he wants to spend a night, it's summertime. He's out of school. But when he wants to spend a night somewhere, he's still, Mom, can I go over so-and-so's house? I got his number. I'm cool with the boy's grandmama. I know everything was going on. I know where he is. I'm not, worried about he's not there. I know where my child is at. So you should always, it don't matter how old you are. I'm 38 years old. My mama still know exactly where I'm at, period, because I'm her child. So that's regardless. And if I don't hear from her in a day or two, she going to call me every morning. She going to call all of us and see what's going on with us because we're her children. So you still should check up on your parents. They should check up on you. If you don't have any parents, check up on your relatives, period, because people are stealing and killing people out here nowadays. And you may not even have a dime to your name, but just the fact that you look like you have something to your name, someone will kill you just for that.
Yep. People are crazy. So we definitely have to look out for our loved ones and just be more mindful, as I said, of our surroundings and things of that nature. So we're going to shift gears now. You all, we have been deep and we have been professional. We have been right and we have been pouring into you all. Let's get down to the mess. Now, this public display of affection. How do you all feel about public aid?
Well, if you need it.
I mean, sometimes it is. That's exactly what it is.
Public displays of affection. How do you feel about that, E?
Are you with it? Yes, I am. I'm with it. I like to be, hugged all up with my boo and us walking down the street holding hands. I just don't stick your tongue down my throat. I don't like that. I don't mind depending on the area of where we're at. If we're in an adult setting, yeah, you can grab on my booty, I don't mind that. But if we're in a family setting, don't put your hand on my butt and stuff. The children is looking, other people's children is looking. Don't do that. That's just not cute.
What about you?
I disagree.
So you don't do public
No,
PDA.
He wants to grab booty while we out everywhere. That's what he wants to do.
He want to be a Chuck E. Cheese, feeling on your booty.
It's gonna happen.
Feeling on that booty.
PDA is gonna happen
from the waist down.
Okay.
It's gonna happen. I mean,
you can't even get it out.
You can't get it together.
No, people make a big deal about it. I think that people who do is just problems in their own life. They got to go home to somebody they don't want to touch or don't want to touch them, so they take an issue. But you
ain't got to talk about me like that.
Unless you just completely getting naked and having sex in public, I don't really see what the problem is.
Get a room.
That I haven't, no.
Unless it's let me say, unless it's a venue that's specifically for that purpose.
I thought about that. Yeah.
So now let me ask you, Precious, how do you feel about it? Are you for it or no?
It depends. Like I sometimes like holding hands and that type of thing. I enjoy lots of like little kisses and stuff like that, but don't put your hand on my bottom in private. Don't be trying to touch my special places, all of that funny stuff. If I can kick you, shut up, Precious. Lord, I can't today. I'm gonna turn this way. Just like little stuff. I'm not into the overly don't grope me.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I was doing. Listen, don't put your hand on my breast. Don't bosom for iHeartRadio. Bosom. Do not put your hands in my lily in the valley, my South Virginia. Don't put
anything that is covered by more than one layer of clothing. Don't touch in public.
Right. I'm like, do not stick your hand. Do not grab my butt.
Thank the Lord for women who do not wear pants.
You know what? Oh, no, I don't thank him for that because I saw, ladies, listen, I done already said this, but I'm going to have to say it again. Those see-through stretch pants, I don't want to see you. I'm sick of that. no cottage cheese everywhere. I don't want to see that.
Wear my girdle for
Then they
that
don't
reason.
have no
Not
panties
the
on.
see-through
No, the
stretch
see-through
pants.
ones. They look
You
like
mean those are called hair store? Those are hair store stretch pants.
Ain't nothing wrong with
I
no
don't
hair
know
store
what they
stretch
are, but
pants.
when the girl walked
It is
past
when
in
you
that
in public,
reflection of the sun, I was like, what is wrong?
That's a sound effect.
Totally disgusting. I'm sorry, it's uncalled for. And then it's like we're in a furniture store. I'm like, now this man ain't finna give you no credit because he already, it's just all the wrong thought. If all the wrong disgusting thoughts was coming in my mind, I know they were just like,
No.
I wish you hurry up and get up out of there because I'm gonna give her the credit she need. All right. He wasn't even paying me no attention.
No,
I'm
she
like, I
just
just
put on
want a
some
little funky
cucumber.
little pip.
She put on some cucumber melon and she sashayed and he was like, yeah.
No, she was smelling like cigarette smoke.
Oh,
I'm
no,
like,
I
so
can't.
it wasn't even.
You know,
It wasn't
cigarette
even-
smoke sometimes to someone is an aphrodisiac.
Yeah,
I could
clearly,
see some. Never mind.
clearly, but like I said, PDA, like it. Let's be decent in the order. Like we're at a business function. I don't want you
we're
doing
at a
any little
business
kisses
function.
and all this other. We gonna just play it cool. If you in church, we don't want to see your PDA. I'm sorry. In church, it's not supposed to be no PDA, especially if you ain't married. See, we need to bring some of these older folks that they dead and gone,
Church
Lord.
is the exact place for public.
I know. You know what? I know 4 people who have done it, in the
Wait, done what?
done it. In the places of religion.
That's way
Oh no!
I know. Boy, I tell you, it's hilarious. I'd be like, that's nasty.
Oh,
that is nasty. I ain't trying to go to the church house.
You are living according to the Bible.
No, you're not.
If you're married, technically.
Well, it
nothing
doesn't
wrong
say
with
in
it.
marriage,
Can
you know,
you
wait
keep
till
your
it don't say in
fornication
marriage.
and all
you know,
your
it
sexual
doesn't say in the
relations?
Bible to wait till marriage before you do it. It don't say that.
Okay.
Well, I do. I
That's
believe
just
that
a
it
rule
do.
of
That's
thumb that
just,
people want, but either way, God didn't say
it
y'all
do
go
say
into
actually it do, but yeah, it do.
What's the chapter
It do.
and the
I don't know,
verse?
but I got my notes. I have it next week. I promise you do.
What it says is once you have sex, you're married.
No, it's another
That's a
scripture.
consummation of the marriage.
I've only been married 3
It's
times.
another
Then.
scripture that mentions something about the marriage bed should be undefiled. There is another scripture, but nevertheless, we're talking about PDA, rubbing on booties, filling on
I
booties.
don't mind it. I don't mind. You know what? Like I said, I don't mind, especially if I'm in the club and I'm with my man. Please rub on me because I don't want some little troll thinking.
That's different.
But still, because you'll get the trolls that'll come up there and think that it's okay to touch you, even though they see you with somebody, and they'll still be like, well, he must not be with it. That's probably just a friend or whatever.
Or even if they're talking to you and you tell them, don't talk to me, and you turn around.
No, don't
go in
do
a complete opposite direction, and they keep trying to talk to you.
Facebook, let me know. What do you all think? Are you with public displays of affection, or do you think it's a time and a place for everything? Like I said, I think it's a time and a place for everything. I mean, like I say, little hugs and stuff like that. Okay, let's just, we don't have to get carried away with it.
Jason PDA.
Like I've dated a guy. I dated a guy who was a lawyer, and he was really stiff.
No.
So like we couldn't, like, he wasn't into like public displays of affection. Like we would hold hands or whatever, but that was
it about his
Was
image?
he stiff?
He was just really, he was kind of snobby. So he was
That's a
very
whole
like
thing
kind
on
of
my back.
snooty and stuck up or whatever. And then I've dated, you stupid. And then I've dated guys that just regular blue collar guys, and they're all like trying to touch your butt and all this kind of stuff. So I mean, I've dated both.
Because to me, all that excessive roping and touching, that just seems like you have something to prove. I'm not worried
He
about.
just might just love you so much you just can't get
Well, then
enough
do
of
that.
him.
Let's go home.
Or
Let's go home. Let's go find an alley. Let's go get a room.
He
Let's
wanna
go
show
to
the
the
world.
car.
I did not say let's go get a room.
We could do. You
Let's
don't
go get a room fuck.
You got to change your surroundings up.
Just not the, just not the raggedy. We could do some suburban alleys, not the city alleys. Some nice Naperville-ish alleys and stuff like that. And then we get locked up for indecent exposure.
You're not doing it in the city because you might not get locked up. You do it in the suburbs, you're gonna get locked up because you know your color.
Okay, well, I don't want a rat, or I don't did enough dealing with the TTs and TT bushes and stuff. So I would like another.
I am not doing nothing
coming
in
out my
nobody's
nose.
alley.
You're gonna do something in the alley.
No,
you gonna.
y'all
have never done it in like.
No.
You don't want to
have
have
y'all done it in like the car? Okay, say you in the car with your dude, and then y'all park in the alley. Y'all have never done it.
No, not in the alleys. I mean, I've done it on the back of a 4-wheeler on the middle of the country road. So like, I mean, that's different.
That's believable.
Right.
But that's not.
So then you can go to an alley.
No,
You can go to an alley.
ma'am.
I mean,
You can go to an alley.
I don't want no crackheads pee on my foot.
That's
You
all
ain't got
you can.
to.
That's
Joe,
what
you
the
got it's
suburbs.
crackheads peas all over the street. You just ain't see them pee.
I don't do it in the street either.
Listen, if you walking down the street, you listen.
I got on
you just-
shoes.
And
You know
so
how
you're
I
not
am.
gonna
I
be
will wear-
naked.
I got shoes.
You're
baby.
not gonna have your shoes
I
off
don't want
in the alley.
mist or
People
the
have
aura
done
of
it in the
someone's
beach.
Pee on me.
Don't
Like,
worry.
it's gonna
If
be
you
in
sit,
the air.
trust somebody probably beating that seat you
Oh,
sitting on right now. If you went to the movie theaters, you done caught somebody's pee up in the seats and stuff. So it's gonna be okay.
It's different.
I've done it in the movie theaters. I've done it in the
On
cornfield.
godly
And on a trail, I've done it on an exercise trip. Boy, I've had a ball and I've done it all. But still, the point, you know, I tell you,
Oh my
that'd
gosh!
be a
In the
wonderful life.
window of like a high rise. Oh my goodness.
I've
I'm
not done
falling out.
that.
I'm sorry.
I've not done because I'm not.
I've done it on the balcony, not in the high rise though.
You know
on a
what?
high rise with the window, or especially with the balcony, yeah, it is
That-
what it is.
I feel it. I just
Well, as I said, there's plenty of other
need to date somebody
places
who
where
lives in a
if,
high-rise.
you know, if your mojo gets revved up, this wonderful panel have given you so many suggestions on where you can go. But let's not, you know, like I said, a handful of my butt, I'd like to keep it in my pants where it belongs. I'm just saying, I don't need you to have, you know, just big, I'm
Why
good on
not?
that.
I don't let them touch a little bit.
No.
Has it ever happened?
Yes.
You
You
like
okay, so no, he bit my butt. We were walking. He,
Hold on.
I'm like,
I bite your butt
I
if
like
you were
that.
walking.
I like
I'm
that.
walking and we were walking again. I'm like, I
Just
took,
you and that donkey. Yes,
You were walking and a
yes.
dude
Bite
literally
it.
bent
no, we
over
were
and
to
bit your
bite.
butt.
bit my butt.
Bite.
And you didn't enjoy it.
Bite.
Who
Bite.
Who enjoyed
Yes.
their
No.
butt being
I-
in public?
I
in
did.
public?
I did.
Oh, yes.
Like it was out.
No, but still,
That
I
makes it
just
even
like,
weirder because he bit pants.
That
Now,
means he likes me.
No,
I'd rather him
no.
bite my behind than the next chick's
You just
behind.
be-
By
No.
away.
Here's,
I gotta
here's
let
when,
my
here's
booty.
when
I'm
you
sorry.
bite someone's
Don't bite my
behind.
booty. Don't
When
bite my
y'all are
booty.
butt naked and y'all doing it and he behind and he bites your booty, that's different.
well, like I said, we just, it's just,
Everybody who watches.
Bite booty.
have you,
Well, hashtag bite. Me
Have
Bite your
you
booty.
experienced someone
Hashtag
PDA your
bite
butt
booty.
with their mouth?
Bite.
If I have on clothes, don't do
Booty.
it.
Hashtag bite booty.
bite booty.
I don't think it's something I'd ever do, but
Yes. Ain't no booty.
You know what? Let me tell you, I
mean,
was
just
shocked.
publicly, just.
Oh, I mean, it went by me. I
I'm
would
kneel my
probably
big
laugh and
behind
be like,
down,
"Oh my goodness, he really did this."
and like
Right, I'm like, I'm
But
walking,
that's just
and
like-
you know what? It was so crazy.
I'm not walking. Practically everybody I've dated is short. Even if they were tall, they were still short. So, like walking, holding on to one another is awkward. Like you bumping into each other. You know.
So we were walking side by side. He's on the outer head, and then like he slowed down, and so you know naturally, okay, I'm slowing down to figure out why he's slowing down, and that's when he took a bite right on
Take
the
a bite out of
crime.
crime. Yes, yes.
And I was like, "Wait, quit playing." And I'm like, once we got home,
We
I'm
gotta
like,
break
well,
up. Yeah, that's
mm-mm.
Why
I'm
you
like, I
do
don't
that?
like
Why you
that.
don't? What's his number? Let me text him right now. Tell him.
Why bite
Take her
somebody
back.
else?
She wants
booty? I
you.
know she don't.
She missed you. She missed
no,
that
she
bite
no,
mark.
she don't.
She
She's
like that.
reminiscing about it right now. Like I remember when he was. She like when he was biting my booty.
What is your hand doing right now, though?
That's for your
Okay.
the Wayans brothers. You know that.
no,
You know that's what
No
that
biting
is.
on the booty. No biting
Yes,
on the
sweet,
booty.
sexy
No
thing
grabbing
you.
the booty.
Okay,
No
what if he
biting
would
the
have
booty.
bit you on the neck?
Oh, I love that. Oh,
please.
gosh.
You can't
Not in
bite the
public.
neck.
Oh, my
Why?
neck. Oh, what the?
Because I don't want you doing that in public.
You know what? I'm gonna tell
Listen.
you what I like. Like if we're hugging and like you just bite me on the neck and nobody really sees and just looks like you're hugging.
So what happens when you get bit on the neck? What
Ooh,
happens?
baby.
Exactly.
Slow.
Exactly. so why do I need to be feeling like that?
Yes,
Right
because
there?
you know that when we got to
Let's
leave.
build up. That's
We gotta
like
Let's
leave.
just
foreplay.
go.
We got-
Okay?
that's
what's gonna make
Let's
it
just
do.
go.
Every time I hug you, I either kiss you on your neck or your cheek. Are
But
you
you're
serious?
Alvin. Like
I
you're
know.
like it.
I know that.
Oh,
Right, but I'm saying like
but we're in public. Do you dislike it?
no. That's a different hug. That's a different No, I don't even think about it like that.
So when
This
he
is for
grabbed
the
you
dude.
and he, grab you right there with your booty and push it against him.
Who do that?
The dude,
No,
and then he
don't do
kisses
that.
you. I
I
love
was gonna say-
that. I'm sorry. You grab me and hug me, and then you palm both palms and kiss me on my neck. I don't care if we are in public. Get baby, do that.
No.
I'm not-
That's
No,
I won't complain.
I'm good. I'm complaining all the way.
All
so
of my good days.
I'll probably hit you or something.
I won't. I would hit you like yes.
I'm like, no, I can do without that part. But like, let's just be mild. But like I said, if we finna get to it, let's just go get to it. We ain't gotta, broadcast.
So you don't do
But
any
then you
of
can look at that as
the
foreplay.
right. You don't do any of the you
You
don't
need to
like.
get some.
So you've never been out to dinner or whatever with a guy and like
Wait,
y'all
hold
flirt.
on. Not to interrupt. Because I don't want you
Go
to.
ahead.
I don't want you to help her out. Can you do us a favor and describe an evening of fun with Jay?
What type of evening? Like, what do you mean? What's your definition of fun? Like adult
The
fun?
reason why we going home to just do it.
Right, because it's like, what are you building up to? It's like, if we want to get to it, let's just go ahead on. We done had a nice.
What is it?
We had a
Dive
nice.
into this.
We gonna not dive into it because then we gonna have
You need
people
to dive
thinking they gonna
into
dive
it.
into my inbox.
Yes.
I can't tell you what I'll heat.
Dive into her inbox.
Concerned about that.
Get a nice.
I am
They
because
diving in. I'm gonna be in your inbox later, so they diving in anyway. But explain an evening that
I
ends with
can't.
Jay, with us revealing the J spot.
I have to.
It
I
needs to
have
be revealed.
plead the fifth only because
Mm-mm.
it's watchers and listeners, and I don't want to
Fucking
tell. Listen, this ain't for everybody. So
Her intro say,
person-
"Come into the J spot." That's what the
absolutely.
intro
And
say.
when you
Come
come to the J spot,
into the
you'll
J
know what to
spot.
do to get into the J spot so
Listen.
that you can stay into the J spot because this is not a circus, so we don't have a revolving door. So when you get here, you're gonna have to have earned the right to be here. But I can't give you the secrets on how to get here.
Dumb DD
Mhm.
like DD
No,
coffee.
we
That's all I can
passed
tell
that.
you.
No, we passed that. We passed getting there.
No, we're not.
We walked and we've had a wonderful evening. You looking at me, I'm looking at you. We're enjoying.
I'm
each
going
other's
to my place of
company.
residence, and you going to your
And
place
I'm
of residence.
going, and you are telling me, why don't you come and sell a cup of coffee?
No, I'm going to my place of residence, and you going to your. Because you just said we walking and we having a
This your
good time,
guy.
and we getting.
This is your guy. He has walked away from the street. He has called everybody and says, "No, Jay has invited me."
What's my last name?
Spot.
My last name is still Vance. We ain't going nowhere, so I'm like, I don't care. I ain't got to entertain all that.
Okay. You are married.
If we met, she got happy there.
Baby, let me tell you, all bets are off.
What you doing? You get your hair pulled. You get your hair
I'm
pulled.
listening.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
you ain't gonna pull her hair. She get 99 years old.
She
So
get the
don't-
hair
don't
snatched.
touch my hair.
She get that hair pulled. What you
Okay.
gonna get? You gonna get that pulled, ain't you?
Don't let the lip gloss fool you. That's
Hello,
all I'm
that's
saying.
all
We're going to take a short
Serious.
musical break.
Yes.
And when we return,
Do that.
we are going to recap and we're going to get into
Come
our
on,
topic
go,
last
please.
week, neglect and child support. When I say child support, no, child abuse. If you're not paying your child support,
That's
that is
child
neglect
abuse.
and child abuse. You're listening to the J Spot.
Wake and bake, I got some millies to make. Yeah, about to go get it. Yeah, I'm about to go get it. About to go get it. This about to change my living. Yeah, about to go get it. Yeah, I'm about to go get it. About to go get it. This about to change my living. I woke up early in the morning, yeah, I had a bright idea. I woke up early in the morning, yeah, I had a bright idea. And it's gonna make $1 million. It's gonna make $1 million. It's gonna make $1 million. And I'm about to get it. I woke up early in the morning, yeah, I had a bright idea. I woke up early in the morning, y'all just don't know how I feel. It's gonna make $1 million. It's gonna make $1 million. It's gonna make $1 million. And I'm about to get it. Y'all, I woke up sitting in my Maserati. Candy paint black at the big body. Later this evening, I'ma switch up on them. Jump in the back, I'm a Bugatti. Yeah, backseat president, 5-band resident. Ain't thinking about paying rent. Got skyscraper condos, car for the elevator. Floor won't gon' be pit. See money like water, so I need to spend it, cause I just invented some shit that's intended to keep on making me that guapa, that guapa, that guapa, that guapa, that deal is beginning. Man, I don't even cook myself. Get washed up coming to America. Got ladies all around like hell. Throw my clothes on, hit the hysteria, yeah. Diamonds on the neck, you see me. Cuban on the wrist, you see me. Born with the fit, but the fit is 8116. Yeah, I had a plan, now I'm the man. So I'ma take it as far as I can. Gonna got me a whole island. Yeah, I'm gonna be out here wildin'. I woke up early in the morning, yeah, I had a bright idea. I woke up early in the morning, yeah, I had a bright idea. And it's gonna make $1 million. It's gonna make $1 million. It's gonna make $1 million. And I'm about to get it. And I'm about to get it. So fresh and so clean, that's what they say. Armani suit and it's tailored to me. Always gonna have some Chuck Taylors on me. Keep a bunch of different flavors on me. Big face, all I want is big face. That's what keep a hustler in a rich place. That's what keep the haters with the shit face. Keep the money coming at a fast pace. Yeah, got a boat that Costa Rica. Model one deck, mamacita. Plus it's plenty of room. Dozens of meters for when I pop bottles and burn with my people. Hell no, I ain't worried about nothing. Got dogs that push that button. Plus I got a whole staff on payroll, so I gotta eat like blood. Turn my milli silly. Eat steaks like I'm in Philly. One of the ghosts like I'm Billy. But I'm a ghetto boy like Willie. They trip off the way that I came up. Cause now when I go profit plane up. Yeah, ran out any time of the day. I'm on my way. I step my game up. Yeah, I woke up early in the morning. Yeah, I had a bright idea. I woke up early in the morning. Yeah, I had a bright idea. And it's gonna make $1 million. It's gonna make $1 million. And I'm about to get it. I woke up early in the morning. Yeah, I had a bright idea. I woke up early in the morning. Y'all just don't know how I feel. And it's gonna make $1 million. It's gonna make $1 million. It's gonna make $1 million. And I'm about to get it. Go get it. Go get it.
What's happening?
Welcome back to the Jaye Pod, where we are giving relationships and family one conversation at a time on IntellectualRadio.com or iHeartStation. I'm your host, Jaye.
Hey.
And sitting next to me, we have my co-host, my partner in crime, Sizzling Sim. Hey, Eve.
Hey, boo thing.
How you doing?
Great.
Good. And next to Sizzling, Pretty Precious Bonner. Hey, Precious.
Hey, Jay. Hey,
How
everybody.
you doing? I mean, is your spirits lifted now? You seeming like you're doing a little bit better because, earlier I'm like, we're going to have to call somebody to do an exorcism on this sister over here. I don't know what's going on, but, somebody help her out. But you seem like you're
I'm
unwind
just
a
busy,
bit.
man. I'm busy. I'm tired all the time.
Bossed up.
All right, that's what I'm saying right there. You need somebody to pull your hair while y'all talking about me.
See what had
Need
happened
somebody to
was,
pull your hair.
Them tracks gonna come out of a dime.
you can have a.
Watch like Steely did in The Color Purple. Like,
That's okay. I'll buy some more. It ain't even that
But
deep.
I tell you know what? When my oldest two, their father, when we first about to do it, I was like, wait, don't pull my hair. These are tracks. And that's what glue. Like, don't pull my hair.
But see, what y'all don't understand is I'm petty. I will shave my hair, be like, let's get it. I'll buy some more tomorrow. Let's do it.
Be more
Like,
careful.
What happened, Rapunzel?
It's just hair. I'll buy some. I'll cut it. I'll buy some more.
Like,
It's
look
fine.
what you do to me, baby. See, this just
You
the
make me wanna
effect
go
that
back
you
to
have
my
on me. This is the effect you have on me.
Because
So,
it's all about you.
it totally is. Everything that you bring
Hello.
into the table, Big Daddy. Do your thing. And speaking of Big Daddy, right next to Pretty Precious Bonner, we have handsome,
Yes.
huggable,
Yes.
smelling good,
Yes, indeed.
Alvin Lay. Hey, Alvin, how's it going?
You got the horn, so why don't you blow it?
Oh, really?
Toot toot. Depends on what kind of horn.
I said toot toot is a little horn.
Then you make the sound. You made the sound too deep.
Okay.
I didn't say no toot toot. Hey, handsome. Hey, Big Daddy.
You can't even
Yeah.
speak. See, some dudes you have to just Lord, I'm just like, you know what? Let me just talk to you like you're a preteen, because coming at with these grown. Listen, don't come over in the grown man territory and you preteen antics. Don't do it. Now, don't do it. Now,
I'm too lazy for all of it.
It's some guys. Now, my thing is, I'm gonna put it out there, and then I'm gonna put it out there on the sister too. Now, I know it's some guys that, especially if you have been down the lily of the valley for quite some time, and you done been experiencing and experimenting with some stuff, and you've been told. I just find it hard to believe that ain't at least one person that told you, nah. This ain't what you want.
They in denial.
This ain't what you want. Like, this ain't what you want to do. Like, and for the females, fellas, like, you know what? How long you been? You may want to put that thing in hiatus. You may want to put that thing up on the shelf because it's just not right. It ain't working. It ain't working the way it's supposed to.
Wait a minute.
It ain't working the way it's supposed to. Right.
Wait a minute.
So
falling his whole soul fall up in there. You can't.
So though that woman and the little guy with the.
But you know
y'all go somewhere and play. Okay?
So I had a question.
Get out the grown folks playing.
I had a question, and I wasn't here last week, so I couldn't ask you guys. Have you ever had an issue or heard of an issue where a guy said that you squeezed too tight?
No.
Hey, Big Red.
Hey, Big Red. How you doing?
That's wrong.
Well, I've only been with 3 guys, so I mean, no, and that's a good thing if they say you squeeze too tight. It's one thing if they say, you squeeze and I can't feel
right.
you.
That was a
so
question.
Tight, it hurt.
What you do?
You know what?
You got some strong monkey.
Or she may have went to, you know how they're doing all these rejuvenation things and they done screwed it on too tight down there?
It wasn't none of that.
I'm saying what she did.
Tell her that's what he didn't say. I fell in.
So how did he did? He don't know what she did.
Well, you can feel your muscles. You can.
You know the person that he was with.
I know the girl.
He can feel the muscles contract, and the guys will tell you, I want you to squeeze, and it'll squeeze so they can feel you squeeze, contract your muscles down there.
Right, but what I'm saying is, they have all these different places now where you can go get your hoo-ha tuned up. I don't know if they have any lengthening places for the fellas, but I do know
they do. It's a doctor down in Atlanta. Listen, dude had a winky about that big. He was so happy because now his friends don't mess with him no more. He played basketball or whatever because basketball, they got some shorts. Yeah. And you see a little winky loop. Well, now he ain't embarrassed no more because now he got 8 inches. I said, I ain't mad at you, bro.
Hold on, so he went from
about 2 inches to a grown man, and he has saved up his money. See that you take them college loans, you don't spend them on them silly stuff. Best. That's what
I can get the 13.
You can get the 13. You take them student loan money when they give it to you. I know you're supposed to buy your books with it. Don't buy cell phones. Buy a penis.
I mean, if you have a big enough penis, it'll pay for itself. I'm just saying.
But some guys don't have it. I know. Well, I heard. I don't know. But I've heard of many guys who have these little winkies, these 2-inch winkies. I've seen them on pictures. And you all should take y'all's money. Tax season. This is over with, but next year tax season, y'all gonna get access. Let me take the children this time, baby. And she be like, okay, boo, what you doing? I'm gonna get you a great present. Don't even worry about it. And the present will be a penis that she can feel.
The funniest thing to me is if you got a little baby penis, how do you have kids? You better get a
DNA because the trajectory of it is like a gun. When you shoot, no, I'm telling you, the sperm does not get tired out. Sperm gets tired out for a long way, from a long penis. But with a short penis, the sperm goes right there because it's like it hit the mark. Right? I know one dude. Oh my God! At my old job,
strong because they gotta go there.
It's just like, and they got great sperm because like this one dude at my old job, girl, they was roasting him so bad. So one of the chicks was like, "Hey, what do you say when you got dudes winky in your mouth?" We was like, "What? I still got more room." And I was like, "Oh." So no, he was known, and his cousin is that basketball player Wade. I ain't gonna tell you what his name is though, but he had, I'm telling you, is this 3 inches? This 2, whatever inch this is. His winky was big, and they roasted him all that work. I was like, man, he had 10 children. And they were his.
He was like, he's a no limit soldier.
He got my auntie called it a thing of nickels. a stack of nickels. That's what she called a little stack of nickels. I'm like, what? Because she told me that one dude, I thought that my auntie's 70s, 80 something. And I was like, Aunt Boo, that's my baby. I love her. You know, this dude I had heard, he had this wrong winky. And she was like, you know what? One guy tried to talk to me back in the day. And when he pulled out his stuff and I saw the little bag, that little stack of nickels, I told him to put that back and take me home. I was like, Aunt Boo, really? She said, I don't do that stuff. That's a dang shame they got the little things.
You know what? I can't even say that because I dated this dude who had a baby penis and I thought it was the funniest thing. He pulled it out and I just laughed at him and he got so mad at me.
Wait a minute now, Alvin. So do you fellas go in on the women like this? Like, I mean,
yes, they talk.
Garbage vagina?
Yeah. Or y'all just really don't have too much to say about it.
The big conversation with me and my friends was whether or not a woman's face stretched. Other than that, it's
that's just nasty.
If the face
no.
This is
you
just
ever had a conversation with a person and you were so disinterested in the conversation itself that you just looked through them to the point where they started sounding like the teachers on the Peanuts commercial.
Yeah.
Their face just started melting and stretching on the table.
Oh.
Clean it up. That's that sucker screed. I already
ain't got it on up. That ain't got nothing to do with what we were talking about.
Nobody really said, "Oh, you know, she had great sex." Shout out, Catastrophic Head. I still miss you to this day.
Shame.
But nobody ever. We didn't have conversations like that.
Well,
so I would
Alvin,
say no.
you definitely.
What I will say, you know, back in my other life, you know, when I used to
before you were redeemed.
I was a stripper.
Okay.
I was saved at a young age, so I ain't have to go back.
Mm-hmm.
I used to produce content, and you know, a young gentleman had came over to the studio to audition for some of the content we were shooting. And so I come through the studio, and he's sitting in front of a TV screen with pornography playing, trying to get himself aroused. And I'm like, I walked, I'm like, what is he doing? My business partner was like, And so
what you mean trying to get himself around?
Right. I'm like, what was y'all doing? Running the whole house?
He was auditioning to being an adult film.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And so, you know, I kept waiting. He was like, I'm ready. I was like, yeah, but you gotta go get it up so we can go do this work. And he was like, it is. And I'm like,
oh, Dad, when a man tells you.
I was like, okay, so, you know, the young woman you're going to be pitted against, she about two people behind her from the waist down.
I don't know how that feels.
So, like, we had, you know, fans have to see that. Mm-hmm. What are we gonna do with it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need that HD.
You know what? Legit, I would guarantee you there's money in baby penises and big booties in porn. That's the idea.
No, what Johnny Cochran say? If it doesn't fit, it must have quit. No, okay, no, because these little small winky dudes will try to bend you every which way. From what I've heard,
you know what? I would pay for that. Like I would pay for that porn video to watch a little bitty guy trying to have sex with a big. I will pay for that just because I want to laugh.
You wouldn't see it.
That's the point. I want to see him sweat.
Oh my God! No.
The thing is, you might be watching like softcore.
It's just.
I actually had to have a sit down with this gentleman and give him like other options, and he was so determined. He's like, no.
Dad, how do you get fired out of porn?
Pills and all of this stuff. And
they even got midgets doing porn.
Doing anything like that.
How do you? Oh, that must have been a sad day in America for him. It's like you get fired from doing porn. They fired. Oh, that's just low of low.
And they even got skinny winkies in porn. I'm saying it all people in porn.
I'm pretty sure you know they'll make anything.
He just didn't meet you all's requirements. But you all listen. Here's the thing: you just have to know what you know and like what you like, and you know it's gonna be all right. Work that thing out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a short musical break because we just cannot go right into it like some of y'all trying to go into it. We're gonna take a short musical break.
And somebody talking about squeezing.
I don't know what they're talking about. I ain't got nothing to do with that. You're listening to the Jaye Spot, where we are strengthening relationships and families, one conversation at a time on IntellectualRadio.com. We are an iHeart station.
Nika, baby. Get it. Filled with love, happy with the session, up with the pound, the rain never comes out. I wake up early in the morning, put some breakfast on my stomach. Time to go get to the money, so I can make it for my mama. And pray my daddy gonna bury me. I know to y'all it's just a fantasy, but every day it's our reality. So please don't judge or get mad at me when we throw our hands up in the air, put our lighters up in the air, blow the smoke up in the air, middle fingers up in the air. So keep them bottles up in the air, let the sparklers light up the air. Raise your glass up in the air, everything going up, and pray we never come down, 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 never come down, 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 never come down. No, 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 never come down. And pray we never come down, 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 never come down, 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 never come down. No, 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 never come down. I never wanted to be famous. All I wanted was to sing and make some money. Now I got half of the Windy City hating on me. Niggas call me Brody, but really ain't my homie. Man, this shit is crazy. Trying to make it to the top and get a little profit to feed my babies. Since I'm here now, it ain't no stopping. I'm top of the playlist. I heard my stripes claiming my side. It was Nico, baby. It's Nico, baby. So we put our hands up in the air. Put our lighters up in the air. Blow the smoke up in the air. Middle fingers up in the air. So keep them bottles up in the air. Let the sparklers light up the air. Raise your glass up in the air. Everything going up, and pray we never come down, down, down. Never come down, down, down. Never come down. No, 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 never come down. And pray we never come down, down, down. Never come down, down, down. Never come down. Never come down. My best friend just lost his mama, so who the fuck am I to tell him? Turn down when he flexing, and not to turn up when he's stressing. Ain't got the answers, we just guessing. So we roll up and ask questions. My bro told me count your blessings and pray to God for protection. So we put our hands up in the air, put our lighters up in the air, blow the smoke up in the air, middle fingers up in the air. So keep the bottles up in the air. Let the sparklers light up the air, in the air. Raise your glass up in the air, and the air up. Oh, and we never come down, down, down. Never come down, down, down. Never come down. Never come down.
Welcome back to the Jaye Spot, where we are strengthening relationships and family, one conversation at a time on IntellectualRadio.com. We are an iHeart station. I'm your host, Jaye, and sitting next to me, we have Sizzling and Sexy Simply Eat. What? The devil is alive. Jaye, how are you doing?
Hi, everybody.
Now, sitting next to Sizzling Simply E, we have Pretty Precious Bonner. She's over in a state of shock, you all.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
The chitlins was hanging out like this low.
We have huggable, handsome Alvin Lay sitting next to Pretty Precious Bonner, and he is definitely telling horror stories that we are just like, no.
I got a lot of amazing stories from strippers.
No. But you all, thank you so much for tuning in. Please go to our page and like our page at the J Spot. Follow us on Twitter at J Spot, and also follow us on Instagram at the J Spot Radio. And Jay is spelled Jaye for all three. You all, tonight we are talking about part 2 of neglect and child abuse. We talked about neglect last week, and we're going to recap neglect, but I definitely wanted to get into the child abuse portion of that. So if you suspect that a child is being neglected or abused, please call the National Child Abuse Hotline at 800-422-4453. Again, that number is 800-422-4453. That's if you know of a kid that being left home alone for extended periods of time on a consistent basis, and the parent, they not doing they not doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say this: if you know that it's a mother that has some kids, and she kind of leaving them there, a few hours before she go to work, and then the school bus coming. Talk to her, help her out. I don't consider, now that's a situation where I don't consider that neglect, because here's the thing: at the end of the day, if she's a single parent and she got to work, because that child care can be expensive.
Yes.
It can be expensive, especially if you have multiple children. So if that's the case that you kind of witnessing, before you make a call like that, talk to her. Don't just put out like that. Talk to her. But if she turning it up, tossing it up at the club and doing all kinds of raggedy ratchet stuff, make your move, because you have to protect the kids. But like I said, we definitely got to distinguish what is neglect and what is child abuse. So in your opinion, E, what is neglect?
Neglect, is just not even giving the child what they really need, whether it's love, attention, just anything. You just don't care, and you don't care, and you're doing it on purpose. It's not like you're being forgetful about it, but you're intentionally avoiding and just not loving that child.
Now, what about you, Precious? What do you consider neglect?
For me, neglect is, you're going out to the club, you're leaving your kids at home, you spending your food stamps and the kids are at home hungry, that type stuff. Like, your kids telling you something is going on, and instead of being an attentive parent, you're just out there in your own little world. Like, all of that's neglect to me.
Alvin, what about you? What is your definition of neglect?
I don't know.
Got to be. Well, I would hate to be a child in need being neglected, and you don't know what neglect is. So since Alvin doesn't know, let me help you and tell you what an online source is. According to an online source, child neglect is a form of child abuse and is a deficit in meeting a child's basic needs, including the failure to provide adequate health care, supervision, clothing, nutrition, housing, as well as their physical, emotional, social, educational, and safety needs. Child neglect is the most frequent form of child abuse, especially with children born to young mothers. They are at a substantial risk for neglect. So here's the thing. The mother is 14, the grandmother 30. 30-year-old grandma, listen, you have to help her. You cannot let her raise. She still don't even know how to clean herself right. So how is she going to raise this baby? Yeah, you told her this and that. You may have told her, but ask yourself, what are you showing her? Because if you telling her, don't do this, don't do that, but then you got James on Monday, Tyrone on Tuesday, Freddie on Wednesday, what are you really telling her? So, is the baby here? Let's just fix it. We got to get it together, because you can't let the baby suffer because, she want to be fast. She want to lay down and da-da-da. Listen, too late for all that. She knocked up. The baby here, let's deal with it, get it together. Yes, you are a grandmother. Doesn't matter if you're 30, 25, if your kid have a kid, you a grandmother, a granddaddy, whatever it is. I'm not all that, whatever. Let's just take care of these kids. We got to help them because they don't know nothing. She's still trying to figure out geometry and algebra. Yeah. What's she finna do? It's so unfortunate, because I've seen parents that, since they're mad that the girl got pregnant, Now they want to just cut her off. Now you won't put out. What you trying to put her out for?
And then the sad thing is she got pregnant. If she got pregnant, then how did she get pregnant? Did you tell her or teach her anything about sex or anything else? Not don't go out here having sex, but actually sitting down, talking to these children about sex, about STDs, about how selfish it would be to even be out here having sex, because it's selfish as a teenager to be out here having sex, especially unprotected sex. And then if you catch something, now I got to deal with you and your little disease behind, because I got to be the one to take you to the doctors to get all that stuff taken care of when I should have been the one to tell you about this, that, and the other. And I'm sick of that billboard saying, we're living with HIV. No, I don't want my child to be the one to be that on that poster board. I don't want my child or anybody that I know, and I know people who have lived with HIV and who have died from HIV. But I don't want my children to be that one, to be that poster child for that, because I've neglected to tell them about sex or anything else. Or I'm ashamed or embarrassed. And that's a lot of things. A lot of parents don't know how to talk to their child. Talk to your children. It's okay. They're not going to feel uncomfortable. They'll be more uncomfortable later on in life to tell you that they didn't caught something, because they don't know how to talk to you, because you've never opened up to show them how to talk to you.
Because here's the thing. It's like, if you're not talking to them, trust me, their little friends are talking to them. And a lot of times they are giving them the wrong information. So you would rather for that kid to be well equipped to be able to make whatever decision that they're going to make an informed decision, opposed to going out here blindly, and now you got a baby, you come back with all this disease, pull it out, it's green, there's all kinds of stuff that, listen, I work in the healthcare, honey, this stuff that these people doing, I work at a hospital. Just all I'm saying, it's just a whole bunch of stuff that's going on that nobody is talking to these kids. So that's how they're getting caught up in a lot of these situations.
You know what? It's really crazy, because my ex stepdaughter, she had a kid, and I actually just found out that she's pregnant again, which is really, really interesting to me, because I don't even know how old this girl is now, but I was always that parent that it made me uncomfortable talking about sex and all that, you know what I mean? But because of her, I've had to be extra diligent with mine, and especially with my daughter, because her family is they're about that life. Like her mama, her grandmama, like they're in that cycle, and they're content being in that cycle. You know what I mean? And my daughter's like, mama, I like going places. I want stuff. Like, wait a minute, I'm not trying to do this. And so she and I have to have those conversations, and my daughter will be 12 soon. So we have to really, really go into it. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm gonna have to make some phone calls to some people.
Yeah, it's definitely a conversation, and with your son as well. You know, like I said, I have a son, so it's like, you know, I don't want you any babies, you know, especially with these ragged chicks. Now, I may think I probably give him a little bit too much information, but I would rather for him to have it and know, listen, check them out, make sure, listen, all this, because here's the thing. I know we as women can pull the okie doke on some of these dudes. And I just feel sometimes, son, if you're watching, he could fall a little suspect to that. So I got to give him, you know, the game from, you know, the ratchet chick point of view, because they out there. And you know, you want trying to raise a good dude, a good upstanding dude. Now next thing you know, he like, Dad, well, I used a condom and I threw it in the garbage. You did what? And you said use the condom. Yeah, I threw it in. No.
This is exactly why my son will get a vasectomy when he is 11.
So you got to do a little bit more education, and a little bit more educating them if you want to protect them. Because like I say, if you don't, the music is telling them all this stuff, videos, all these reality shows, they telling them stuff. So you may as well tell them and explain the truth and how to protect themselves in those type of situations. Now, here are a few examples of child neglect. Leaving young children alone without a responsible teen or adult to oversee them. As we talked about last week, you can't leave 12 bad little kids with a 14-year-old when you know that Nick and Red, they don't listen to you. So what you gonna leave them with Bobby for? And you already know that I'm kicking y'all when I'll come back. No, stay here and kick his behind. Don't go nowhere, because you know they hard-headed. You know they can't be left with no Nobody.
If your child has 2 repeating names, John, Ray, Bay, Tay, stay at home with them. Don't leave that problem on nobody else.
Especially the little kids. And like I say, and then the seniors. Do not leave these, but listen, they done raise their kids.
Yep.
Stop trying to put these kids on Big Ma. Look, Big Ma and Madea, leave them alone. They done put their time in. They done raised you. They just want to sit back and try to enjoy the fruits of their labor. So, kind of be mindful with that. Filthy living conditions. Listen, clean your house up. I don't care if it's empty. Clean your house. You should not have nasty Pampers on I'm telling you what I've experienced, what I done walked in and people think I'm going to stay there and I'm eating. The devil done lied to you 12 times. I'm just tell you that. Do not have a baby shower and then you go to the kitchen to put your stuff in the refrigerator. Wait a minute. Is this trash all over your kitchen floor? I think not. No, I'm not going to be able to do it. Here's the gift. Good luck to you and that baby. I got to go. I'm not going to be able to do it.
You got to be petty and stuff.
Right.
You just can't sit down and enjoy the company.
On what?
At least she gave
so
her the
something
gift.
can jump on me?
I would have took my gift back and paid for 1
I
hour
don't
of
care.
maid
It was
service.
something. It was in the air. It was something
pets.
in the air. So I'm not going to be able to do it. So your kids should listen, clean yourself up and dudes, if you sleeping with a chick and you know her house like that, you just, because they out there.
She got the bomb or something.
I know. And then he leave, and then she end up pregnant. Now she got your kids living in that mess. So listen, let's get it together. I mean, listen, you should check her panties, the mama panties. Look, she ain't clean.
Oh, Lord,
She not clean. So they need to.
Ooh.
The dudes, they need to be checking these female panties before. Listen, I'm just gonna tell you, I'm sick of this now because I'm tired of seeing these kids like this.
If you gonna check a woman's panties, you let her check your nasty drawers. How about that?
Check everybody.
Everybody check everybody.
No food or providing the proper nutrition.
Time, man. Same time.
Let me get a check.
Check them. Just make sure they clean. That's all I'm saying.
I don't want to check your drawer. I just want to check. Like with dollar signs and zeros on it.
So we have no food or providing the proper nutrition. Again, early in the morning, flaming hot juice and chips, that is not breakfast. If you have a pre-K, they in first grade, listen, fix these kids some breakfast. Some nutritious breakfast.
Pre-K.
The little kids, you see these little kids out there running around.
The parents, a lot of times they don't have the money to fix some breakfast. So they send their children to the daycares and stuff, to eat there. And if that's what you have to do, then that's fine. But just make sure when you send them that the child is at least clean.
And the daycare has money. The daycare get money to feed your children. So if your children are not being fed at the daycare, then you need to call 1-800-422-4453. You need to call on them because guess what? If they not doing the right thing by your kid, they not doing the right thing by the rest of these kids. And here's the thing. If they not eating, that's what the school was supposed to be for these nutritious meals because they knew a lot of the kids, especially in the urban areas, are not getting the proper nutrition and they're not being fed like the supposed to.
So, and here's my problem with that. I always say this because one of the things that bugged me to no end is you have all of these programs out here for children whose parents are not financially able to provide for them. And then you have these parents who are not doing what they're supposed to do. There are so many kids, and I talk about mine all the time because I think I have some truly fantastic little people. But so long as there's food in my house, my children aren't going to starve. They can cook. Because I taught them how to cook, because they need to understand how to care for themselves. Not so much because I'm going to abandon them, but because I want them to grow up and be independent people. These parents are getting money if all you can buy is frozen hot dog patty or whatever it is. What is it? Frozen hamburger patties and freaking microwave French fries. You know what? Do that. Buy the little Ziploc bag broccoli. Leave something there. Don't go sell all your food stamps if that's the case. You know what I mean? Like, what is the point? Why are we as a society providing for these people if they're not doing what they're supposed to do?
Because these people, and not these people, but people in general, you're not taught, not educated, about how to properly go grocery shopping or what, is nutritional value for food in your house. And especially since we got all these commercials out here, these fast food restaurants and stuff, even in the school systems, you got more junk than you got nutritional food or whatever. They're not taught, so you can't get upset with them that because they're not taught. If you're teaching your children, then that's great. Then you also teach your children to teach their friends what is a good thing for them to eat or whatever. My children, they eat healthy food or whatever, but they also, their children, they're going to eat some junk too.
Right.
But they're going to tell their friends, nah, my mom cooking or whatever. And their friends, children will follow what other children do. So if you teach your children what's what, and you have your children teach the other children, they'll follow one another. That's how you get them to teach it. And then they'll teach their parents. Children will teach their parents, and parents can learn from their child. But you have to not be afraid to tell and teach, and not only teach your own, but other children as well. Because if you just think that you're just going to teach your own children and that's that, I'm sorry, it's not going to work like that. Trust and believe it's not going to work like that. I had a friend who said that when he has children, that he's going to take his child and move way out in the country. That way there won't be any crime around them. They can keep them away from bad things, so whatever. Silly. And I'm like, the reality of it is your child, especially if you have a daughter, the main person that she's going to gravitate towards is the one that's opposite, that is like you, but opposite from you too. So you can't hide them. So it's best to teach them, especially while they're younger, or just continually teaching them. Education is a continual process. If you stop learning, then you might as well just kill yourself. There's no such thing as stop learning anything.
And that is so true, E, because it's like you have to talk about it. And this is what we're having this discussion for, so that parents that don't know, we can kind of put something on your mind and give you something to think about. Listen, I know we are in a rush. Everything is so fast paced. But we have to secure our number one investments, and that's our kids. We got to make sure our investments are in order, because if not, then, what are they going to do? They're going to be screwed up. Then they're going to screw somebody. And it's like, we have to stop the cycle. It's like, it's so much going on in the world. And it's because a lot of it starts at home.
So, I have a question. Y'all know how I am. If you have, let's say hypothetically, there are children, or there's a family in an apartment next door to yours. The mother doesn't work. She does whatever, right? But her kids are always at your house to eat. Would you consider that neglect?
I wouldn't. I would feel like it's something about you that is more nurturing to them,
but
that they're not.
Never food there. Like,
well, if she doesn't have any food, then yes, that's neglect.
But she gets food stamps for them.
Then that's neglect. She's not feeding them. If no food is there.
But even if that's the case, then why don't you have a talk with her? People are so quick to call the authorities on another person, whatever. And then the next thing you see is a person get their children snatched from them, but you don't even understand the situation. Instead of going behind her back, talking about her or talking about them or whatever, talk to her. We're so afraid to be a neighbor to one another, but we don't have no problem with talking bad about one another.
First of all, Miss Militant, you to back up.
But I'm serious, because I'm seeing this stuff constantly over and over again. People have their children snatched up in a heartbeat, and then when you throw these children in the system, then they get molested or whatever else, and then you wonder, well, you think you did a good thing because you had them taken from their mom, but you don't even understand what she's going through or what he's going through as a parent or whatever. You just on the outside looking in, thinking you doing the right thing, but you being that nosy ass neighbor. So don't do that.
And it's like, again, like I said earlier, it's like you definitely have to make sure you're assessing the situation, because that's never an easy call to make. And as I said, by being a mandated reporter for the state, being a foster parent and all the other stuff, the horror stories, I'm just like, oh my God, it's like you don't know which situation is worse. Should you let them stay with their people and, let them try to figure it out, and you try to help them out and be there, kind of, keep an eye on the situation? Or do you call and put them in the system, and, now they shipping them off and sending them to the boogeyman and God knows who else? And, so it's really just a catch-22. I would definitely say just use your better judgment. But if you see something, say something, do something. Don't just act like man, because you're going to feel bad if something happened and you like, dang, I should have said something. I should have, I should have did something.
I got one more. How would you go into that conversation with that mother?
I would ask, I need to talk to you. I know me. I need to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Your children, they come over here, and I love your babies and everything, and I have no problem with them having dinner at my house. But is everything okay? Because first we'll ask the person we need to talk to them, and then we'll say, well, this is what's going on, blah 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 blah. But you never ask them, how are they doing? Are they okay? And 9 times out of 10, most people want someone just to ask them, and then she's gonna probably break down and say, no, everything's not okay. I got this going on, I got that going on, I got this going on, and I can't afford to either stop by the grocery store or make my children something to eat, or I don't have the money to purchase something. And then we'll point all these fingers at these parents, but we won't even say, you know what, I got something in my refrigerator, I'll go grocery shopping for you, or write down a list and I'll help you out or whatever. That's how you build a sisterhood and a brotherhood, especially in our community.
But it also goes back to, listen, having your priorities straight, because now let's be honest, we got some of these parents that, you don't have the food and you got a lot of stuff going on, but here it is. You got all these liquor bottles in here, you got beer, you're high, you're turning up, you got all these
that.
Yes, you definitely have to have a conversation with them.
And if they're not receptive of that conversation, now you see exactly where the situation, the problem lies. But first, before you call and everything else, make assumptions, first talk to them and see what's really going on. Even when you talk to the children, because children will tell you every little thing possible. So once you talk to the children to see, you get their side, but then also give that parent the opportunity to present her side. She might have that liquor going in there because that's her go-to. That's all she has. That might be what she's eating and what she's drinking all day long. I know women who wake up every morning and drink.
I do
They don't
too.
Eat food. They drink.
I do too. But it's like, you know what? Like I say, my thing is, I want to do the best interest for that kid. So it's like I say, I'm not saying to jump to make a phone call, because there are definitely some other steps that definitely have to be taken before, that should be taken before that. But like I say, if you see something, I feel like it's our personal responsibility to say something and help assess and get that situation, help them get that situation together. If you know a young woman that is going through some stuff, don't sit, it now. It's your personal responsibility because you see it and you know of it. So, man, you gotta, like we were talking about earlier, you may not know how to dress for an interview, so you can't get an interview, you can't get a job because it's just a lot of different things. So it's like, she may be trying, but if you go up in there with your boobs out and all this and that and smelling like smoke, nobody's hiring you.
But there's a lot of programs. There's a lot of programs that nonprofit organizations have that teach certain skills to newly mothers. My son's mom used to work for an organization called Family Focus. My son actually volunteered time there, as well as my daughter. And they would constantly have different programs for newborn mothers going back into the workforce, women having problems in the home, violence, different things of that nature. So there's a lot of programs out there. And sometimes, to speak to what E was saying, sometimes you really just have to pull that coattail to what's out there that they can take advantage of.
Well, I'll look up some things and try to find some stuff for the Illinois area, Indiana area, and then we'll definitely have that information posted on our page.
Really, really quick. If you go to any of the county public aid places,
people ain't doing that.
No, I mean they have to at least to reevaluate or whatever it is, but they have pamphlets and stuff there. If you go to a doctor's office, they have pamphlets, especially if you have a private physician and you've just had a child, they literally have pamphlets for all of these different programs. So you don't have to go to the public aid place. You can go to your doctor.
And you all, if you know of any programs that could help, please post that information on our page, on our Facebook page at the J Spot, and Jay is spelled Jaye. Now, child abuse. According to an online source, child abuse is physical, sexual, or psychological mistreatment or neglect of a child or children, especially by a parent or other caregiver. Now, what do you all consider child abuse? First of all, let's just ask, whoopings, spankings, do you all consider that child abuse?
No, but I think it can go too far.
Okay. What about you?
Same. I mean, I believe in spankings. I don't believe in beatings.
Okay. Alvin?
There's a fine line. I prefer not to physically discipline my children, but it speaks to the abuse that I went through as a kid. But at the same time, I kick a kid in the throat.
High five.
If necessary. So, but like I said, it's a real fine line, and if you're going to physically discipline your child, it really has to be done from a space of love, and then you really. I remember the first time. Well, this is actually the only time my daughter lied to me because she stole some money. She actually didn't steal it. She saw it, picked it up, and just put it in her pocket. But when everybody started looking for it, she got scared, and she didn't know what to do. And so when we realized she was hiding it, I felt myself being in a space where, okay, I'm actually going to have to physically discipline my daughter. I broke down crying and I couldn't do it. I was just like, whoa, hold on. Her mother looked at me and was like,
that ain't nothing.
Right. What's funny is the one and only time my father whooped me, he cried and he literally had to plan it out because my mother's instigating behind just kept egging him on like a little freaking picking at a bump. You keep saying you gonna whoop her, you ain't gonna do nothing. And he was like, go on in your room, I'm gonna come in there in 30 minutes and whoop you.
Let me tell you, I don't remember not damn time Sister Vance ever cracking a tear before knocking one of us out. I promise you, listen, 7 kids, you got to run a tight ship. And I'm telling you, we all, most of us got it together, but listen, I ain't never seen her. Mom, did you ever crack a tear? Because I never saw her crack. Let me tell you, the stuff that she used to do, let me tell you, you don't want to get caught doing nothing wrong. See, back then, man, she would look out the window. She told us how far you could go. Let you not be there. There will be some ramifications that you're going to have to deal with in front of your friends and all this other stuff. So it's just some stuff that you just for your benefit, you didn't want to have to deal with. You didn't want, see, she was the type, how they give you them whoopers and put them on the layaway. I owe you. I hated that. Just give it to me right now because see, here's the thing, just the pressure of knowing she's going to kick my behind. Like, your life ain't right. You're all focused. No, it wasn't beating, because listen, you had to get tightened up because you knew you was out of order. Listen, when I'm like, oh, she's gonna kill us. You knew that you knew that you had it coming. She never abused us. We got our behinds kicked. The best one she used to do, man, when you was asleep and you wasn't expecting it. Lord have mercy.
See,
Let me tell you.
I would have been traumatized. I was waking up like, oh Lord.
Right. That's what
you can't do that to me.
You
ain't gonna forget it, and you ain't gonna never do it again. You gonna be thinking twice.
It's funny. I only had 3 whippings in my life that I earned, and each one was from a different person. I got one from my grandma, one from my mom, and one from my dad. They ate one time. That's all you got to do. But again, I was the only child.
No, I don't never remember.
I knew, but I knew exactly how far I could push my parent. And my mom would get to a point. She'd be like, "Oh," and I'd be like, "Mom, it's okay. I love you." And
see, it was 5 of us growing up. So the first 5 of us. So the first one, you got it. But that last one, she was about to kill you because you know what? If you were involved in the mess and she had to whoop you too, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, she ticked off by the time she got to the 5th person because she's like, listen, you should have learned and you shouldn't have did it because you seen all these stupid ones doing it and you gonna go do it too. No. Like, listen, Ma, get yourself together.
Thank you, Mama and Daddy, for not making more children.
Here's the thing, that was a whooping. Now, abuse. You burning these kids with these cigarettes. If you see these little kids, have you ever seen a little kid that has marks all over their body? Like little specks looking like little chicken pox, got all kinds of scratches.
Cigarette burn.
Everything all over them. Listen, I would talk to their people because see now I have 0 tolerance for these child abuse people. I promise you. Listen, I can't even deal with it. Like my spirit ain't even all. Listen, I'm ready to have you locked up.
I have too many anger issues for that. Like, you know what? It's so crazy because y'all know I'm not a children person, but my stepdaughter, she came to live with us. And it's not because there was anything that I could truly see, more like just a feeling that I got. And it was not that she was being abused, more so she was being abused via neglect. And the way my mind and my attention span is set up, I don't even like this child. I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't even like her. I didn't like her mom. I ain't like nothing about none of them. But what you not gonna do is mistreat a child, especially when that child got something to do with my blood.
Now, let me give you a few signs that a child may be being abused. Unexplained bruises and welts on the face, throat, arms, back, and buttocks in unusual shapes and patterns, which suggests the use of a belt buckle or electric cord. Now, I guess, they don't really want y'all doing electrical cords, We got those too. Let me just tell you. When you have to see, that's called an upgraded blessing. When you go from the belt to the extension cord back then, you knew if you done had a whooping before, you knew which one was, like, yeah, this is something I get the belt for. This right here, like they called that extension cord. You was getting that extension cord.
I didn't get the cord, I got the switch. But like when you was talking about the abuse and stuff, I remember when and he was his first daycare, and her daycare is shut down. I had her shut down, and she lost her license and everything else. When I went, I think I was there for about maybe 2 months, I think, because my daughter was a baby. And when I went to go pick him up, he had dry blood around his nose. Naeem was 1 year old. He had dry blood around his nose. He was cutting teeth. And so when I pulled down his lip, his tooth was pushed up and pushed back. She said, fallen and fell on his face. Now, my son is like, he has fallen face forward on concrete several times and would get up and giggle at it. So I knew that wasn't the case, but Naeem was very strong as a child. If he hit you, you was going to bruise, because he was like, bam, bam, literally. He was cock strong. He would tear up your house, and he would break stuff that you couldn't break because he was that strong. So when I came there and I was picking up my daughter and I picked my son up, I'm wondering, where's his clothes at? Because he didn't have his clothes on him. He was in a pamper. And why is this dry blood on his nose? And when I pulled back his mouth, I found out she was in the car hiding from me. I took him to the emergency room, and my son had a fractured jaw with burn marks. He had cigarette burn marks on his elbow. So she had put out her cigarette on him and, fractured his jaw. When we took him down to Children's Memorial, that the social worker thought that I had did this to my child because her sister worked for DCFS for Chicago and said that he came to the daycare like that. Mm-hmm. But I'm the one but he was there the whole day, and I'm the one who took him to the hospital. So, so when my caseworker came there and saw my child like this, what they did was an evaluation to see if it was me that abused my child. So she put Naeem on one side of the room, and she had me on the other side of the room. And she was like, well, I want you to call him to you, and I want you to raise your hand up to him as if you're going to hit him. And I want you to strike down to act like you're going to hit him. I said, sure. So I called Naeem to me, and Naeem came running to me, and I raised my hand up, and Naeem high-fived me. I said, I don't beat my children. He's too young. If I'm going to take Naeem, I would take him to a socket, and I would say, that's no. And I would pop him on his hand and tell him, no, that's no. Or take him to the stove and say, hot, no. So, but the lady, I don't know where she is today. I seen her a few years ago in the grocery store. And when I had forgotten all about her, because now my son is grown. But when I saw her, at that time I was married, and my ex-husband knew. He was like, what's wrong? And I was like, that's that witch, And so he was like, let's get out the store, because he knew that I wanted to just jump on her then. But her we had her thing, her daycare and everything was shut down. So,
well, that's oh my God. Like I said, that's crazy. Don't hit my child.
Yeah.
Like I said, you guys, if you see something, man, you definitely have to say something.
No problem. Burns, a whole bloodline.
Rope burns and unexplained burns generally found on the palm, the arms, the soles of the feet, the stomach, the butt. All of that inappropriate or excessive fear of parent or caretakers. Like you said, if you calling your child and, the child is afraid to come to you, exactly. Those are definitely could be some signs. Bruises and scars all over the child's face and body. Now, I was a daycare provider, and, and just being at the schools and just, having your kids in school, and you see some of these kids and you like, Dad, you like 8 years old, and there's like not a clear space of skin on these kids. It's just like marked all up, like you fighting, like you done been through some things. And I'm just like, listen, I looked at them. I've witnessed all kinds of abuse growing up. There's some stuff. So I can kind of look, and it's just the kids, they're more timid. Mm-hmm. A kid that's being abused is more timid. They tend to lash out at other kids. They tend to be very, very either timid or they're very violent. They're excessively violent. They're doing things to your kids that they're doing to other, that's being done to them.
Exactly.
Let me talk about sexual abuse real quick because we got to touch on that. Being sexually abused by these people. Listen, watch your kids that are at school. I don't care how young they are. Start talking to them about their private parts, who it should be touching them, who should not be touching it. Tell them about inappropriate touching. You have to teach these kids. I say as young as 1, once they start to understand, because again, I've worked in daycare. I've seen little kids touching other little kids. You think 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, you think they're not doing it? Yes, doing it. They are, because somebody is doing it to them.
Not only touching, but looking as well.
Touching up. I'm just like, look, all of that, having a little girl sit on men's lap. Listen,
no, I don't believe in that.
Listen, get your end. Don't come sitting on his lap and all this, You got to watch all that.
Don't have your little son sit on
nobody's lap. Nobody should be.
If it's not their parent, their parent or whatever, don't sit up there and put your child on anybody's lap. I'm sorry, don't know Santa Claus, none of that stuff. Because everybody's a damn pervert to me. I'm sorry. If I didn't birth you, you're a pervert. It's like nobody's hand should be in their private areas.
No. You have to teach them, because like I say, if you don't teach them, then they're not going to know, and they're going to let people do it. Like I say, if you hear your kids talking about the boogeyman and all this and that, hey, try to figure out what they talking about, because your boyfriend could be going in the room, touching your little daughter while you sleep, and she's scared because the lights is off. The boogeyman. Exactly. So, you got to kind of figure out, talk to your kids, talk to them. Kids, a sign that a child has or could have been sexually abused, they touch themselves. They're always touching in those areas that they're being, whatever's being done to them, they often emulate that.
They do.
So you have to pay attention to that. If somebody is penetrating your 2-year-old, they may have a toy, putting it there. You got to pay attention.
We had a quick story. We had a little girl. I used to watch her, at my house a few years ago. And when I came in one day and she didn't hear me, she was on the couch touching herself. And the girl was about 7. Oh, wow. That was the last time I had that child at my house. Yeah. Because I don't want you to do whatever you doing to yourself to my children, though my children are older, or you say that my children are doing whatever. So it's something going on with you and your mother. And I could not. And her mom, she didn't care. She would drop her child off at my house and just leave her for the weekends and say she was at work, but you never came home. So right. I was like, you know what? I can't do this. I can't be I can't be in any part of this, whatever's going on in your household. I can't do it. So
and for the boys as well, you got these ratchet dudes and these ratchet women sucking on these little kids.
Antoine Fisher.
Listen, at that age, just doing all. Listen, you may not want to hear it, but it's real and it's happening every day up under the sun. And now you wonder if you've noticed any change in your child's behavior. Your child used to be so chipper and just love to just. Now they closed off. They violent. They don't want to be bothered with anybody. Talk to your kids. Pay attention to your kids. Stop dropping them off to everybody, letting them spend the night over everybody's house. Stop having all these kids over your house and you not watching them. Yep. You got to watch. If we having a sleepover, we all sleeping on the floor. We all sleeping, because I'm going to sit up. I'm going to have a flashlight on you little jokers. I don't care. 3 years old, like I say, because I've seen too much. So I know that it's happening as young as 2 years old, 3 years old. Now your child has been assaulted by another child in a daycare. What are you going to do? Who going to jail? Nobody. It's a little kid. It's a little kid. But your child has been traumatized. Yeah. So this stuff is real. So it's happening by parents, adults, teens, brothers, sisters, cousins, little classmates. Watch your kids. Teach your kids. Be there. Monitor your kids. We're going to have the number posted up for the child abuse hotline on our page. We're also going to have some more tips and some signs and some resources that if you are dealing with something like that, that there's some help out there that you can reach out to these people. But I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. You've been listening to the Jaye Spot, where we are strengthening relationships and families, one conversation at a time, on IntellectualRadio.com. We are an iHeart station. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you for hitting the Jaye Spot. on IntellectualRadio.com.